Hey everyone, welcome to the final Awards Whispers podcast for this Oscar season. It is our final Oscar predictions podcast. We're going to go through every category, top to bottom, bottom to top, bottom to verse, and tell you who we think who's gonna win. Maybe who we thought should have been nominated. I don't know. We'll get a little spicy with it. We are joined today. We have a full house. I'll have everyone introduce themselves. I'm, of course, Ariana DeBose's biggest fan, John Luce. My co-host,
Catherine Deneuve. No, yeah.
And then
it's me.
Yeah. And let's meet our guests, our incredible array of panelists.
I'm Rob. I'm just happy to be here.
I'm Blaine. I'm in Los Angeles. I'm happy to be here too, but I don't know why I'm here.
Because I made you.
I'm Rachel, dialing in from New York, repping Barbie for the year.
Fresh off the Celebration tour, I'm Madonna. So thank you so much for having me. No, I'm Erik, Northern California, AwardsWatch. Let's go.
And we are here. We live to tell you about Oscars. So thank you for being here, Madonna. All right. We're going to jump right in.
Very early, Madonna.
It was a late show, and I was very late, as you know. So
let's jump in. We're going to start with, I believe, documentary animated short. Or that's not a category. Animated short film. I'm a fucking mess. It is 3 a.m. in my brain right now. Sorry, everyone. Let's talk about animated short film. Yes. Yay. Nominees are Letter to a Pig, 95 Senses, Our Uniform, Pachyderm, and War is Over, inspired by the music of John and Yoko.
Who goes first? Throwing darts at a board.
Right. Let's start with Erik. Let's start with Erik.
Okay. I was thinking the other day that this used to be a category that had, Disney shorts and Pixar shorts, and were relatively cute animal stories and short films that, used to be really much more of the Disney variety as they accompanied, an animated film. And they've gotten quite a bit darker recently. There are certainly some very dark ones in this category. Nazis and pigs and war and death, and there's a lot going on in these. And often, I think now, if you look towards what is the worst nominee of the category, I think you have a pretty good chance of that being the winner. And the far and away worst of this list is War is Over, inspired by the music of John and Yoko. It is terrible. It has the worst needle drop of the year for its big crescendo moment. But also too, if you're just like a voter that's not really seen much, and you see a title that's like, oh, that sounds like something that I should vote for, that this is the move.
Yeah, I'm also predicting War is Over. As much as I wanted to pick Letter to a Pig for autobiographical reasons, I'm going for War is Over. That is the correct one. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I heard it's terrible.
And it's is it the longest title? Because usually the
it is longest
short. Yeah. The animated short also is the longest title.
It is, okay. And also too, like Peter Jackson's VFX companies behind it. There's a lot of reasons why it can win, and probably will. It won the Annie for short film, so it's it's horrible.
Yeah, I always said it was just if Pixar showed the slightest amount of blood.
If there's a spoiler, it's 95 Senses, and it would actually be a really good spoiler because it's a really thoughtful meditation on death. And Tim Blake Nelson narrates the animated character, and it's quite a lovely little film.
I really loved the animation on our uniform. It was just very clever to use the all the clothing as like the backgrounds for the animation. But there wasn't much to the story. Didn't really say much new.
Rachel, what do you think?
I said I would predict War is Over.
No, but tell us about all the other.
Oh,
And dissect them and analyze them. And
yeah, and I should probably rank them. I have seen one of the short film nominees, but not in this category.
Oh,
I have seen one of the live action shorts, so I could give my review of that.
Let's move on to live action short. Do you want me to read?
I'm not predicting the one that I saw.
All right. The nominees for live action short film are The After, Invincible, Night of Fortune, Red, White, and Blue, and The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar.
which is what I picked because it's got the longest title.
And it's, I figure give Wes Anderson his Oscar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But mainly because of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he submitted, or he made like 4 or 5 short films this year, and that was the one that got the Oscar. So it was or got the nom. So I feel like he's trying really hard, and they're just going to give it to him.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's decent.
It's decent. Okay.
I thought most of the live actions this year were pretty snoozy.
Yeah, they're not good.
No, I only saw about the Wes Anderson, and then was it The After, which that was pretty mediocre at best, I thought.
The After sounds like a Naomi Watts film from like 2009.
It might as well be. I mean,
The Impossible. Yeah,
it's a serious subject, but the execution is not very good. And I like the guy that's in it, David Oyelowo, but he couldn't even. I thought it was just very pedestrian.
Which actually makes it a pretty perfect winner again for a category like this that gave Two Distant Strangers or whatever, the one from a few years ago.
Yeah,
the cop and the black guy.
Oh yeah, those are very comparable. Very comparable.
They are very comparable, and this category is also kind of gone in the shitter. I've got Henry Sugar at number 3.
Oh, okay.
And I have Red, White, and Blue as the winner because it is a cross the state lines abortion drama that I just feel like is enough for topical voters to go for it, even though it's got a really crazy twist ending. Henry Sugar is also 40 minutes long. It's by far the longest here. And I don't usually trust the longest film or the shortest film in the short categories.
Generally, I don't either, but I really only went with this one because of the Wes Anderson connection.
Right.
He's lucky to even be here.
So here's a question. Does the ballot actually say his name? Okay, so that was the one hesitancy that I had on kind of clicking that or picking that is it doesn't have his name on it.
Only the actors.
If you haven't seen it and you're just going based on the title, you may not pick it.
I mean, my thinking was if I know that he's attached to it, like a lot of people do, not everybody, but a bunch of people. Yeah. But the names are not there. They're only there for the acting categories.
That's what I thought.
What it's worth, it's one I'd heard of before the nominees came out. And it's been on Netflix, I think. Or on one of the streamers for a while. I've seen it pop up.
Yeah, it is a Netflix. It's part of his short film series.
Yeah.
And the After is also on Netflix.
It is a Netflix film.
Yeah.
So that might I don't know if that matters in this category, but I always wonder. To me, like accessibility on streaming is becoming more and more of a factor.
Because accessibility, I think, does matter. I think
it might just be my algorithm, but they were pushing it onto my feed a lot.
Yeah.
So I feel like they were doing that to a lot of people in Hollywood as well.
Well, they probably know it's their best chance of winning anything this year, sadly.
Rachel, you had seen one of these.
No, I saw one of the docs.
Oh,
Oh.
sorry.
Okay.
Well, who do you think's winning?
Henry Sugar is my prediction. But I would have Red, White, and Blue in second place.
Same.
I thought was on YouTube, but I couldn't find it when I was looking for it.
No, it's not anywhere right now.
Yeah.
So the only way a voter can watch it is on the Academy platform.
Yeah, which is why
Bad.
I Henry
Yeah.
Sugar, because it's not great. Because I'm actually genuinely interested in seeing Red, White, and Blue, but I don't have a way to see it.
Cool. Let's move on to the documentary short film. Rachel, do you want to take a?
Well, I've seen one of these, but the one that I have seen is not what I am predicting.
Okay. Which one did you see, and why was it bad?
Do you want me to say the list, or do you have the
Yeah,
list in front of you?
go ahead and say the list.
Okay. Documentary short film. The nominees are The ABCs of Book Banning, The Barber of Little Rock, Island in Between, The Last Repair Shop, and Nine and Wipo.
So I'll tell you the one I am predicting, The Last Bike Shop. But the one that I saw is the ABCs of Book Banning, and I did not really care for it very much.
Yeah, it was there was no structure. It was just like, here's a book, here's a quote, here's a child with a statement their parents gave them to say. It felt like a life cereal commercial.
It felt a little too scripted, a little too set up. I agree. Yeah, when I saw it, I'm like, really? These kids seem very articulate and very deep. And maybe they are. Who knows? Maybe they got a bunch of precocious kids that are very passionate about this. But I agree. It just seemed a little bit too scripted and for the subject.
It had two really big flaws to me. One is the conceit is all of these books are banned, but they never give the specific rationale why each individual book was banned. They're not all banned for the same reason. So that would have been helpful. And number two is obviously these kids had to get permission to read these books and to participate on camera in the film. And kids who have parents that are willing to have them do that, I think would skew more towards the types of kids who would react positively to those books. The kids that are being banned from reading those books are more likely to have more conservative parents that would cause them to have a negative reaction to the books. So I actually thought even the science behind the movie was flawed because the sample was skewed, so to speak.
It was preaching to the choir.
Yep.
Yeah.
One thing though is it's directly directed by, I believe her name's Sheila Nevins.
Yes.
She's the head of MTV Docs, used to be the head of HBO Docs. She has like hundreds and hundreds of credits. So she kind of has like the power and the sway. So that could help. But I think The Last Repair Shop was
Sorry, Last Bike Shop. That's what I meant.
Yeah, it was the best one. It was touching. It made me want to go like I should pick my old cello up and get back into that. So it was very
No, I agree. That was the best. And I had daughters that went to public school and played and are musicians and played in bands, and so that world very connected with me. And also, it was just really well done. I didn't see. There's one that I saw them all except for is it The Barber? Which one is that? A Barber? Is there one?
The Barber of Little Rock.
I didn't see that one, but I saw the other ones, and definitely The Last Repair Shop stood out as actually the best of all of them by far.
I did not like The Last Repair Shop. It's like it's beautifully shot.
Mm-hmm.
But at every turn, I was like, is this about the repair shop? Is this about this kid? Is it about this adult that is talking about his coming out story? I felt so disconnected with every single bit of it. But it has the luster of a winner because it's so feel good. And then, of course, the day before Oscar voting started was the massive LA Unified School District Education Foundation of a $15 million campaign that is directed at the shop itself that they announced at Hollywood High School, 2 blocks from the Dolby. And I'm like, how can anybody possibly escape the magnitude of that? And even though it's sort of, and that's also something that's on Hulu right now, it's very accessible. I thought I had it in like second place for a while, and I had Nine and Waipo at number 1 until then. But as sweet as Nine is, it's the shortest of the short films. It is also the only one that is not issue driven in any way. It's just a sweet and cute story of 2 old grandmothers. It's very sweet. I love it. And I think Sean Wong has an incredible career ahead of him. But I do have a hard time seeing voters go through those 5 and pick the one that is not an important issue one, unless that's exactly what they want to do and feel free to not have to pick the story on book banning that is really kind of bland or, whatever.
And that's why I have it in second place, because I'm predicting Repair Shop, but I feel like there are people that go into this just looking for escapism and like low stakes, and that is the box that you check. And I mean, it also, I think, then speaks to like whatever your political alignment is and things that you care about. And there's a lot of variety in here. And that is really the only film where you just sort of like sit with these 2 little old ladies who are adorable and just have a really good time.
I will say Nai and Waipo had a kind of a viral reaction to their nomination. I'm picking them just because I always have to support my elder ladies.
That makes sense.
And they were super popular at the Oscars luncheon. And yeah, I mean, they're incredibly charming, and Sean Wong is too. And it is crazy. Yeah, they got the Oscar nomination that morning, and then that night his feature film Dee Dee was premiering at Sundance, so they were all at Sundance, and then it won 2 prizes at Sundance and got picked up by Focus, and it's coming out this summer. So he's going to be having a very good year, whether he wins or not.
Yeah.
How old is he?
29, but he looks 15.
Okay, yeah, I thought he was 22, 23.
I mean, as a 26-year-old, I am.
As an 8-year-old.
Cool. Thank you, documentary short film. I don't know why I just thanked the category.
Thank you for your input in documentary short
Thank you.
Did my homework. I watched 20% of the nominees in the category. Good night.
The Kirstie Alley of it all. Thank you for your input.
Visual effects. Does anyone want to take visual effects?
Yes, Godzilla. We all need to predict Godzilla. We need to put the juju out there in the universe. But I actually think it's going to happen. And of all the stuff that I've seen in terms of this category, most of the YouTube coverage for it has been sort of how much they were able to do with so like little in terms of budget. And I think that it surged when it needed to, and that there's a lot of good sort of like traction behind it, and that's what I'm picking.
Yep, I'm picking it too. Just because I have an Ex Machina kind of like flashback, so that's where I'm going. Sorry, did I just interrupt?
I still have to read the nominees.
Oh shit! Totally jumped the gun.
So the nominees for visual effects, which ironically is what I think is the list of likeliness. It's the same likeliness of who's winning. Like I think it's the order of who's going to be winning. It's The Creator, Godzilla -1, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1, and Napoleon. I feel like that's the alphabetical list, and also
the likelihood list.
I want Godzilla to win, but I think The Creator was probably. I'm picking The Creator or predicting. The Creator.
I watched The Creator last night, and the visual effects are stunning in it.
Mm.
But I am just biased towards during the writer's strike hiatus. I just got way too into Godzilla. So
Same.
So
We
I
went on
have
a
to
journey
go for it.
together. Yeah.
Also, if Godzilla -1 wins, it would be the first time I mean, it's not for directing, but a Japanese director has won
Yes.
an Oscar, right?
Well, like a competitive one, I guess, because
Yes, yes.
Not an honorary.
Yeah.
No.
Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kurosawa never won.
Kurosawa never won, but then he got a career one, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and the foreign language film doesn't go to the director, so
Yeah.
all of those things, yeah. And yeah, I mean, it was even the first Godzilla movie of any kind to get nominated.
Yeah.
So I'm going with the creator, and I have Napoleon in second because history just favors those two over anything else in any way. I completely understand that Godzilla would be a passion pick win. And it would make sense if it won too. It's a $15 million budget, even though they got that by underpaying every single person on the project. But to win as the sole nomination for your film here is pretty difficult. 2016's Jungle Book was the last to do it, and before that, it was Death Becomes Her in 1992. And the thing that kind of also kept me from this or Napoleon being able to beat the creator is they each had nominations at the Visual Effects Society. Godzilla just had one, and it was for individual character animation for Godzilla himself, and he lost to Bradley Cooper's raccoon in Guardians of the Galaxy. So that's kind of weird. But Napoleon losing to Naiad for supporting visual effects was like, what are we doing here? What is happening? How did this happen?
Okay, that makes me feel slightly better that they're just out of their off their rockers because that
I'm surprised
Yes.
Naiad didn't win the character one for the recreation of Walter Mercado.
coming out of the water to tell you your future.
Oh my god. And I mean the things that benefit the creator and Napoleon are both the other supporting nominations that they have. Creator has sound, and it got sound without getting any Sound Guild nominations before that. And then even more so, Napoleon has production design, which has a bizarre association with this category that is extremely hard to pass up. The last time that a visual effects winner here beat out one that was also nominated for production design was 1991. It's Terminator 2. So yes, every year is going to be a new and different stat or history or something that gets broken. But I don't know. The creator, also a relatively small budget, all things considered, $80 million versus $200 million for things like Napoleon and Guardians. A big sweeper at the Visual Effects Society. I know I've seen people online be like, well, nobody's talking about the creator. Like, well, you're not talking about it, but that's different. Yeah. You're not a voter. Right. You're like, it's such a strange conversation.
And it's been on Hulu for a while, so it's much more accessible as opposed to Godzilla, which is not, you have to actually go see it in the theater, and I don't even think it's even playing anymore. Nope. So I do, now I'm going back and forth on that. That's a good, you made excellent points.
I know people are looking
sense with your facts.
No, because I know people are looking to like RRR as a comparison, which is I get it. I understand. This is the only place that Godzilla can win because it's its only nomination.
Well, RRR won everything though in that category, pretty much. Like we all knew that it was pretty much locked up.
Yes, it was, but also because it had only gotten that one, you could focus all of your votes just on that.
Right.
Yeah. So a Godzilla winning as similarly to that makes sense too.
Yeah.
I want it. I'd rather. That's the one I want to win.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have the creator, although there was something about Napoleon that I think it could also win, but I have the
It has a
creator.
prestige factor that none of the other. It feels like a best picture.
It's the only one that is. I know it didn't get like best picture nominations or anything, but it's the only one that feels like it might have been more widely seen. That's what I don't know. Maybe I should switch to Napoleon just to be different from you guys.
It has the most nominations of any of the rest of the films in the category.
It's just that I don't believe in my heart that, like, I believe that we, as people who like this and as people who predict this, I believe we end up watching more stuff than most of the voters do.
Sure.
Yes. 100%.
Yep.
Oh, your kitty agrees with me.
Yeah, he agrees that it's lunchtime. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, maybe I'll switch to Napoleon. So
All right.
someone in this group can have it. If
it.
it's right, then someone got it.
I have no faith in Napoleon. I don't think anyone cares about that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of same.
But I still,
I don't
stand
think
by the
anyone cares
creator.
about any of these movies, though. Like, there isn't the fact that Oppenheimer is like didn't even make the cut is kind of mind blowing.
Yeah. If Poor Things was here, then easy call.
Yep.
Mm.
Not be easy call. It's a weird list.
Let's move on to film editing. The nominees are Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. We'll start with Rachel. What do you think?
Oppie goes with picture and direction. This is an easy. I think this is a gimme for Oppenheimer.
I'm also going with Alfie, but I do think it should be Anatomy.
Rob?
Oppenheimer. How can you deny someone with the last name Lane?
Yeah, I know. Should have been through enough.
Are we all predicting Oppenheimer?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, this should be a clean sweep for it. The Ace Eddies aren't until tomorrow night. It's definitely going to win there, and then it'll have everything.
I'm actually predicting a ride-in victory for 99 WIPO here. So
We're flaming hot.
Oppenheimer. Anything that should have been nominated here? While we're visiting.
I had issues with All Us Strangers, but I thought actually the editing was pretty phenomenal, and I wouldn't have minded it. Yeah.
That's like I said, that's going to be my number one. Should have been in literally every single category. So.
I mean, apart also from like the fact that Godzilla pretty much deserved to like sweep all the tech categories. Apart from that, yeah.
Yes.
I think Zone of Interest should have been here. I think
very good pick.
Phenomenal. Just the way things would cut so perfectly as they were walking across like the yard or the house from like a different like 90-degree angle, and how it was always just so seamless. Like, it wasn't the flashiest editing, obviously. There wasn't like lots of editing going on, but it was, I thought, incredibly well done. So that was mine.
One that I think didn't deserve to be there, but damn well tried, was Maestro.
Sometimes they go for most editing. So yeah.
I wonder if having like the two standout scenes of the movie be like long shots. I don't know enough about how people vote for editing, but that became the association with the film as opposed to the other work in the film.
Mm-hmm.
It was just such a film school thing to do. Like, he saw Bergman do that and he was like, that looks cool, I'm gonna do it too. But like with no real narrative purpose. So I don't know.
I am a huge Maestro apologist. I love Maestro. So I would be happy if it had like 5 more nominations. Not Sarah Silverman.
I liked it. I didn't love it, but I did like it. Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah,
I think there's.
I'm more in the light camp.
I will fully admit there are some really unique and interesting things, like the Snoopy shot and everything is really cool. But the film itself, the less I say about it, probably the better for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm still angry that he stole, the film from Jake Gyllenhaal, and then had the audacity to have a line reading in it that is exactly like Jake Gyllenhaal. So, it took a lot for me to overcome that hatred to still like it.
Well, Bradley loses all of his Oscars. He can go have a shower with his dad and then tell his daughter he doesn't love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Let's go to production design. That has a more, I think, interesting battle going on. Where did it go? Production design. The nominees are Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Rob, what do we think?
I'm going with Poor Things. I think it's between Poor Things and Barbie. But I think just for me personally, I think the production and the visual for Poor Things was a little bit more impressive. I did appreciate Barbie and what it did. But yeah, I think Poor Things seemed to be a little there was a lot more to it, and it really was part of both were part of the story. You couldn't have a unique production design without that complemented the story. That's a tough one, but yeah, I'm going with Poor Things. It just seemed to be more, and also, 11 nominations. I think this is going to be one of its wins, and I think visually it was much more impressive than Barbie. So that's my pick, and I'm going to stick with it.
On balance, I agree that it's between the two of them. And they are my number one and number two, but I am going with Barbie. And then I also realized I only really have Barbie winning two, which I'm not sure if it's like lower than what I feel might actually happen, but I can't really justify it just winning anything else outside of this. And then when we get to song, probably. But I feel like it's got to win something outside of song, and it's here. Yeah.
This is a tough category because between this and costume design, it can go several ways where Barbie can win both. Poor Things can win both. They can split, but you don't know which way they could split for various reasons. I think the production design in Barbie is so expansive and huge and really just eye-popping and fun. I love the production design in Poor Things too, the way that you love the Cheesecake Factory or the Venetian in Las Vegas. It's gaudy and it's intentionally ridiculous, but it also has that sort of feeling of almost like a Monty Python style of extremism, where you think you're seeing something real, but it's just the cartoony version of it. I think it's pretty fascinating. It also, it has the Art Directors Guild and BAFTA and that silly little set decorators group award. Barbie has Critics' Choice and set decorators. Oppenheimer has art directors.
Yeah.
The guild buildup in this category, and a little bit in costume too, has been crazy because of how they've defined Barbie and Poor Things, whether it's period or whether it's sci-fi fantasy. So sometimes they compete against each other and sometimes they don't, because the groups differ on how they define them. So in direct competition, Poor Things does better. And I don't know. I'm Barbie feels a little bit like Babylon last year, where it was the overwhelming critics winner. It won a dozen production design critics wins, and Poor Things had 2. But it didn't matter at the end because a bigger film won. So I'm going with Poor Things. I'd rather have it be Barbie, but
I feel like the difference though is that Barbie is the bigger film this year. Is the biggest probably in terms of like box office and stuff like that. It is the biggest. And I think also what I was thinking is that in terms of Barbie Land and just the Barbie lore, it has a much more sort of like real life referent compared to like Poor Things, where people clearly Barbie Land doesn't exist, but people were immediately able to recognize that looks like, you know, the toy sets that I see in, you know, Walmart, I see at Target, and they were able to create a world out of nowhere and the world building behind it, sort of like out of nowhere, that still feels so true to who Barbie is as a cultural kind of icon. Yeah. It kind of like you watch the movie and it's like, this is exactly what I expected it to look like. It feels correct. Honestly, Poor Thing doesn't have that. Yeah.
The thing I think that works against it is also going to work against it in costume design, and that's once they get out of Barbie Land and they're in the real world, it's all contemporary.
Yeah.
And voters don't vote for that in this or costume design.
Yeah.
Another thing about Barbie is it's just the characters interact with the production design a lot more, and than with the others, it's just the production design there.
Yeah.
It's a tough one.
The world building and looking like the toys and the Barbie Dreamhouse and stuff is why I will die on the hill that it belongs in adapted screenplay and it's in the correct place. But that's for another category.
I agree with you, by the way.
Yeah.
I took a step back at this category, and the way I tried to decide was, I don't think either Poor Things or Barbie will go home completely empty-handed, but I think Barbie is pretty much guaranteed to get at least song, if nothing else. So we know it's got something. So I have 3 categories where I think Poor Things has a chance, and I wanted to pick at least one of them because I just don't think it's going to be 0 for 11. It could, but that 0 for 11 is a very select club of movies. So I think the odds are it's going to win at least something. Spoiler alert, I don't think I'm picking it in actress. So I have to decide if it's winning production design or costume or both. So I split it as Poor Things production and Barbie for costumes, even though it might be reversed, especially because of the contemporary thing that you just mentioned. But I feel like the costumes from Barbie and the looks from Barbie kind of took on a separate life of their own throughout the year. And Margot Robbie's looks, obviously, but people dressing up as the different versions of Barbie at parties and stuff like that. So I'm sticking with Poor Things here, but I don't feel that confident. But that was my rationale.
I'm picking Poor Things here as well. Just for basically the reasons that Rachel said.
It's crazy because Sarah Greenwood and Katie Spencer from Barbie are on their 7th nominations, and it's kind of they're going up against first timers everywhere.
What did they do? What did they do before?
Sarah Greenwood was on West Side Story.
Okay.
I think no.
I mean, 7 and they haven't won.
Yeah.
I mean, I know someone who's got 8 and hasn't won, so they can get in the league.
Okay. I mean, someone this year has 12 and is not going to win. So
meet Diane and Bradley in the smoker lounge afterwards.
Right.
Exactly. It's
so they got cred. Okay.
Yeah, they got. But also, I mean, I actually in my ranking, I have Poor Things 1. I have Barbie at 3 because I have the potential. I have the potential for Oppenheimer to go into sweep territory, because it did win Art Directors Guild, against Poor Things, and if there is any type of sweep, why would it not win here for building an entire town? Yeah. I mean, Killers of the Flower Moon did as well, and Jack Fisk deserves. But there is also the fascinating thing that Ruth de Jong was Jack Fisk's protege, and here they are nominated in the same category together. It's fascinating to me.
That's right, and he's never won, right?
No.
Is never, so he's kind of up there too, as far as, I don't know what his nomination tally is, but I know he's never won.
Yeah.
Going to be a lot of people in that smoking lounge.
Yeah.
And nobody from Oppenheimer.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna call an audible and do costume design next because it's the exact same lineup and we're already kind of talking about it. So, costume design. The nominees are Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Blaine, kick us off.
I'm gonna go with Barbie for this. I'd say a close second. I haven't seen Napoleon yet, so I don't know what the costumes are like in that. But I'd say my second would be Killers. But with Barbie, it's just that's the only one I can recall a costume from. If you ask me to name a costume from any of these, those cowboy outfits were pretty iconic. Then again, I'm not an expert in this field at all, so I'm just going to say Barbie.
I'm picking Poor Things for both of these categories, and I don't want to. I think I would actually prefer Barbie in both categories, but I'm a natural pessimist. And the shoulder pads in Poor Things are so gigantic, and I feel like when in doubt, whatever has more costumes or bigger costumes generally does well here. Like as soon as I saw the garbage dress in Cruella, like that gigantic fucking thing, that's winning the Oscar, and it did. So I tend to go when I don't know what to pick, whatever had the bigger costumes. So that's why I'm picking Poor Things.
I'm also picking Poor Things. I think I have Barbie in two, but Barbie, kind of like with Mrs. Harris, there's that sort of like question mark in terms of how much original work went into these costumes, how much is actually sort of like using the blueprint of like all the Barbie fashion over the decades. And I do feel that kind of hurt Mrs. Harris to an extent. So, but I do think that it's either or, but I'm going with Poor Things.
I agree. Exactly my thoughts, Cesco. That's exactly what I thought too. Same thing. I'm going with Poor Things and similar rationale why I'm not picking Barbie. And for some reason, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but for some reason, it, like you said, I don't want to say copying, but kind of copying. And for some
inspired
reason, but for some reason, Jackie came to mind when a lot of people thought it was going to win costume design. I'm like, well, that's the fucking peel box, that dress that very iconic dress that she wore during the assassination. And I don't know if that just kept coming back to me. So I could be totally wrong. And again, not a total expert, but I seemed like I was kind of going back in history of some of costume design winners and losers. And for some reason, I kind of put Barbie in that category. I mean, they were bright and cool and beautiful, but yeah, I think same rationale, the originality and of Poor Things. And yeah, I'm exactly in line with your thinking.
Yeah, I'm going with Poor Things too. And just like we were talking in production design, I think the contemporary element of Barbie is not going to do it any favors. I'm a little less inclined to go deep into them being, copies of what we already know, because any historical biopic, Napoleon or anything else, is going to have reference points for accuracy and historical detail. I don't know why it would be, any different for Barbie. And actually the costumes in Barbie use original stuff as reference points, but they're not exact copies, and it's kind of one of the cool things about them. And it's crazy that Barbie couldn't win here or won't possibly win here, because dressing up your Barbies is that's what Playing with Dolls is all about. It's so intrinsic to the concept of Barbie completely. There's the whole sequence of throwing the clothes out, and then the freeze frame of exactly, what the reference point is, which again could be work in its favor or totally against it as being, copycats or whatever. So I think it's very, very close between those two.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I love Poor Things outfits. I created a whole bunch during awards season that were inspired by it because I loved it so much. But I also keep thinking of, when you think of the costumes, you really only think of Bella Baxter, and not Willem Dafoe or Mark Ruffalo or anybody else and what they're wearing. It's so hyper focused on her outfits, but she has like, 6 very distinct, very unique, separate costumes. So is that enough? I don't know.
As I said before, in production design, I'm sticking with Barbie here. Maybe I'll be wrong. I love what you said, Eric, about dressing up the dolls. The other factor for me is just that the costumes in Barbie are really a character unto themselves. And there was also a lot of buzz about what Margot was wearing when she went to all the awards, when she was dressed as the different eras of Barbie, which I think sort of renewed interest in the clothing that's featured in the movie. And I will say this is the best that Margot Robbie has ever looked on the red carpet, because she usually looks like a garbage fire. But
The bar was very low.
Well, once she got out of the Chanel contract, she was free.
Yeah, but she looked great, and I think that's helped a lot. So I also don't really know if the comparison to Mrs. Harris is that apt, because I mean Barbie is a $1 billion movie with multiple nominations that's been seen by everyone the world over. It's not exactly the same scenario. So I could be wrong. It could be Poor Things, or the split could be in the other direction. But I just feel like it's the only one of the movies nominated this year where the clothes are almost a separate character. And that's why I'm...
No, it's a good argument.
By the way, when's Florence Pugh getting out of her contract with her weed whacker?
Oh my God.
Be so angry when people that are so rich and so beautiful look like such hot garbage.
I mean,
I think with her though, I think she actually likes what she's wearing. Where you can see like Margot Robbie on some red carpets was like, "Someone please help." Like, yeah, no, I think Florence Pugh is a little more actually devoted to looking like garbage. So you make your own choices. Yeah,
she can't stop now.
Yeah, why stop now? Yeah.
All right, let's move on to cinematography. Nominees are El Conde, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Cesco, over to you. You'll start this one.
Oppenheimer, I think, is the clear winner here. If it was like to win one thing, it would be probably this. So yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. I had issues with actually the cinematography in Oppenheimer as well as the sound. I had some issues with the text in Oppi, like kind of across the board, but I think there's really no argument to be made for anything else here.
Is everyone predicting Oppenheimer?
Yes, Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
This is like one of the bare minimums. Like I've got it like kind of walking in with 7. If it gets others, like there's signs.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
That there could be a huge, a bigger sweep than even we're anticipating. But this is in the 7 of like.
Yeah.
It's winning this next.
Yeah. There are several categories, especially for Oppenheimer, where the difference between number 1 and number 2 are like a Grand Canyon size chasm.
Yeah.
And this is one.
Yeah.
I want to give a special shout out to El Conde, though. I love the cinematography in El Conde. And
that movie went places.
I love the cinematography of interest. It was, again, understated, but I think incredibly effective.
I really like the lighting on the bonfire, especially at the end.
This is generally a pretty good category, unless you really hate fisheye lens, like in Poor Things, which is generally pretty terrible. But I wish like Saltburn or All of the Strangers, were here, and just the branches had a willingness to vote for things like that instead of just what they feel on our, I don't know, bigger scope projects. But I do love that we've got 3 films that have or largely in black and white, and also use the 133 ratio. It's a really neat lineup in terms of breaking out a little bit from history.
That's one thing I was going to say before I forget. The fisheye lens in Poor Things is, even though I'm predicting Poor Things for production design, I do think the fisheye lens does like some heavy lifting for the production design sometimes, where it makes it feel more fantastical than it actually is.
Mm.
So you walk away thinking the production design is this extraordinarily whimsical thing, but actually a lot of it was just filmed in fisheye. Anyway.
I just want to say that outside of Godzilla, probably my pick here would have been Society of the Snow, which kind of got shafted.
It did.
But cinematography and also editing, I thought were excellent. Yeah.
Let's go to everyone's favorite category, makeup and hairstyling.
Oh God.
Where we all just feel really good about ourselves every year. Makeup and hairstyling, the nominees are Golda, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Society of the Snow. Eric, what do we think?
So this is actually, I think, a really fun category, because of what we have, all the markers that we've seen in recent years, point to an acting win and where it's connected to this category. We just have so many great, well, I don't want to say great, but great examples in terms of prediction. But this year's a little bit different. It's a little funky because Bradley Cooper's not winning Best Actor, but he has the makeup to back up a very traditional type of paired win. Emma Stone, if you're predicting her to win Best Actress, would you then go here for the makeup? The thing that takes me out from that is that she's not the makeup focus.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're connected, it's the lead character and their makeup that is the focal point. But it's Willem Dafoe who is, and he's not even nominated. So it would be
he's in it for 10 minutes.
Yeah, it would be kind of a strange win for Poor Things here, unless people just kind of go crazy with it. Maestro beat it at the makeup and hairstyling awards, the special effects makeup and period makeup. And I'm just absolutely unwilling to not pick Maestro here, because even when they're not connected to a win, we still have examples like Bombshell and Vice, where it is about the lead character's makeup. And it feels like a pretty easy win for Maestro here.
Yeah, I'm predicting Maestro.
So alongside Best Actress, makeup and hairstyling is the one category at the Oscars that has made me lose faith in humanity. I just have to preface. So I actually am picking Golda, just pretending that the assignment was to make Helen Mirren look like Yoda. In which case, terrific. You did it. Great. But that is exactly what I think of this category and what they're capable of. And that's what I think is going to happen. Yeah.
I'm picking Golda too, because they made Helen Mirren look like a baked potato. No, I'm kidding. I'm not picking Golda. I'm picking Maestro also. I actually thought the makeup in Maestro was actually pretty good. Actually very impressive.
It's phenomenal.
It's really was pretty, because sometimes, boy, it can go either way. And I thought they did. I thought it was outstanding. I mean, again,
you thought the nose on young Bradley Cooper in the movie looked good?
I did,
and I thought his old makeup looked good too. I thought that was very convincing. So even though I was not the biggest fan of that movie, I do have to say that makeup was pretty goddamn good. So,
all right.
Well, it rides the line between exact copy and impression, because he doesn't look exactly like Leonard Bernstein, but enough. But yeah, whether it's the nose or a slightly exaggerated chin,
Yeah.
it's different enough to just not be like an exact copy. And I just thought that was kind of cool. I think I mentioned on a different podcast that the Golda makeup looks like in The Town when they go and rob banks dressed as the nuns. The mask with just like the gaping open mouth just looks it. She looks like a saggy old woman's knee.
Yeah.
Like her face. It's horrifying, unbelievable.
And
So
that's
if it
how
wins,
little. That's how little I think of this category that this is gonna win. Because otherwise, I mean, my own pick would be Society of the Snow. Actually, completely
Same.
like, yeah.
Mhm.
But what we've seen them do over the years, to me, is in line with sure Golda wins this because yeah, look at her. Yeah.
I'm with Maestro. It will be interesting that Maestro's win will come for perhaps the most controversial element of the film, but I do think it's going to win. I did think the makeup was good. It's also bringing to mind that one of the things that's so interesting about this year to me is that we're going to have both a sweep and a spreading of the wealth in the same year. Like, I think most of the Best Picture nominees, probably 8 or 9 of the 10, are going to win at least one Oscar, but there's still going to be a movie that wins probably 7 Oscars, which is a really interesting. Like, usually we're in a spreading the wealth kind of mood and everyone wins 2 or 3, or we have a giant sweep and everyone gets shut out. But this year we're kind of going to have both.
Like last year, where five of the Best Pictures didn't get shit.
Right.
Right.
And we did have a Best Picture that won 7, and then that was kind of like at the expense of a lot of the other movies, including Elvis, which was still, I think, a surprise that didn't end up winning anything at all. So this, I think, will be the one win for Maestro, so that it's not officially bageled. Well, it is about Jews, so bagel references.
My God.
Let's move on to sound. The nominees are The Creator, Maestro, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, Oppenheimer, and The Zone of Interest. I'll go first this time. Oppenheimer is my prediction. Zone of Interest should absolutely win. It was a phenomenal masterclass of sound usage. Oppenheimer, I understand why it's going to win because it has the most sound, but yeah, I don't have anything else to say.
Yeah, I like the in the Zone of Interest how just the first minute is just the sound to get you into the mood, which is what sound should be doing.
Yeah. And that's why I'm picking that.
You're picking Zone?
Yeah.
Okay.
It won BAFTA. It deserves it. It deserves it. I was watching an interview with Johnny Burns, sound designer, and he revealed, which is really why this movie should also be in cinematography and film editing. They set up cameras and mics in every single room of the house and they were all hidden so that everyone could perform their scenes and their parts without looking at cameras and at the same time. So like the boys playing with their toys in one room and the women folding laundry in the other room were actually happening at the same time. So it picked up all of the sound as it was happening everywhere. And putting all of that together with those 3 components just blew my mind. It was very like, Robert Altman style. And it's crazy that it doesn't have all 3 of those nominations. And it's crazy that it isn't the runaway front runner in this category.
The thing that I liked off of what you were saying is that in terms of like also combining all those sounds, that there are no levels. So you basically hear gunshots as though they're in like the room next door. I thought I had my problems with the movie, but I thought that the sound was absolutely brilliant. And I can't think of another movie that made use of sound that was so crucial to the story, like what Zone of Interest does. Yeah.
It's terrifying when Christian Friedel is on the other side of the wall screaming orders, and we're over on this side at the house. We're hearing that because it's happening. It's not ADR. It's not added. It is just an astonishing production.
Yeah.
And much like with the costumes being a character in Barbie, the sound is a character in Zone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, are you picking Zone?
I'm picking Oppenheimer. It should be Zone.
Big sounds go boom.
Yeah. Oppenheimer. Yeah, definitely Oppenheimer. Yeah, definitely Zone would be my pick. But also just kind of there were such great films that had some great sound that didn't get in, like The Killer. And also Eric, one of your favorite film. I watched it a second time, All of Us Strangers. I have a different theory on that movie now, just to let you know. But the sound in that film, with the mixing was incredible. And again, like I said, I have a different theory. Actually, Carrie came up with it. And I was like, that's not what I thought, but that is absolutely brilliant. What she came up, what she thought the movie was. She said, oh, it's about this. And I'm like, oh shit, that's not what I thought. So anyway, I can explain it to you privately. But anyway, that was a film that I really kind of focused a lot on the text on that, and that was definitely a very underrated film when it came to the text on that film. Anyway, but I'm preaching to the choir here.
The soundscape of that is pretty fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's continue with the ear categories. I call them the ear categories because I'm cool. Original song nominees are "It Never Went Away" from American Symphony, "I'm Just Ken" from Barbie, "What Was I Made For" from Barbie, "The Fire Inside" from Flamin' Hot, and "Wazazi, A Song for My People" from Killers of the Flower Moon.
Honestly, if What Was I Made For was not in here, I would predict Dying War and Diarrhea Song. I like unironically, I would be like, this is the year. But obviously, that song is way too big to lose this. But I'd like to think that she is top 3, if not top 2.
I think she's in her best position in a long time, just because she's hitting, what's that called? Like, she's had so many nominations now. Like, she's hitting like a point where the urge to give her something is getting bigger and bigger and bigger every year. So I think she's probably in 3rd maybe for this.
I feel like in a way, unfortunately, her career Oscar was kind of like an Event Horizon thing where people were like, all right, well, you know what, we were feeling bad for you, but not so much anymore. But of like what we got in terms of the final lineup, I do think that there are people that will be voting for her. Not enough.
I think she's number 4 in this race.
That's generous.
I think she's dead last.
I think she's almost always 4 or 5, with the exception of the couple of years where she really could have won, and certainly the year that she should have won over Sam Smith.
Right.
Yep.
Well, the year of EOC, she was in 2nd place.
She
vote for that. Yeah,
2nd place with the Lady Gaga song.
Somebody's looking at that going, "Flaming Hot. What the fuck is that?" So that's why I'm saying she's dead last.
No one has done more though to get movies that don't exist nominated for Oscars than Diana.
She knows how to play the game. She goes around like talking to people at parties about movies that don't exist, and this is what happens.
It's incredible.
I'm telling you,
I'm gonna try that.
I've been at several parties and events with her, and she's actually great. I love her to death. She's so funny. But she splits her time between absolutely intense self-promotion, like out of control. Like, she sent me messages, "Why don't you have me in the top 5?" And I'm like, God damn it.
Bad.
Oh no, for real. It's but then her other time is split talking about smaller films and getting people's attention to them. And it's so her passion and her cravenness is completely genuine, and they exist side by side.
I have no issues with how she's playing the game, by the way. I didn't want
not at
like
all. I love
I
it.
would do exactly what she's doing, and I would probably fuck everybody on top of that. So yeah. Absolutely, mad respect. Like, this is how you play the game.
Right.
Here are my thoughts on song. Billie Eilish, What Was I Made For, is going to win. She's going to be the youngest ever 2-time Academy Award winner.
Yep.
Second place is the other song from Barbie. And if they didn't have a stupid rule prohibiting more than 2 songs being nominated, third place would have been the Dua Lipa song from Barbie. Because those are 3 great songs. It's also going to be the first time since Titanic that Record of the Year and Best Original Song match. So that's really exciting. And Diane Warren's best nominations were in the 90s when she did have some legitimately good songs, but they were just beaten out. I Don't Want to Miss a Thing and Because You Loved Me. And also, I like How Do I Live from Con Air is also.
I like that song too, actually.
It's also a good song. It's just
song.
they were in a different era when movie songs were different than what they are now.
And I mean, to some extent, that's how she's still writing those songs.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. And
and they don't feel like they are from this time, like this time. Of all the categories to get an overhaul, I actually think this one is probably the one that's in most need of a little look.
Yeah.
I
Well,
agree,
I mean,
totally
look,
agree.
if you look at the history, she has that wonderful run in the 90s. They did change the format, and she stopped getting nominated for most of the 2010s and then came back when they changed it again. So
What was the change?
What was the format? What did they change?
So they did the not the ranking, but you had to give things like numbers, like like out of 6 or something, and she never hit that ranking during that period. So she has that giant gap where she stopped getting nominated, and then now she's been nominated every year for a decade, including even after she's gotten her honorary.
Yeah.
I've told her, and I'm sure other people have, if she really wants to win, she needs to be attached to something closer to a Best Picture and not the sole nomination. But like, it's like people don't take her seriously enough, and they won't do that. I mean, she's not going to be writing any Disney animated film hits or anything like that, but she's got to be attached to something where she's just a part of a bigger conversation, and not the only conversation.
That's becoming true for a lot of categories in general. Like a lot of the acting categories work the same, and that's just the truth of it. Like the more nominations, the more eyes end up in front of that movie, and I mean. It could be a situation down the line where she ends up working with someone who is actually a much bigger, more established name, and then split it. Because that's kind of like what was happening with Laura Pausini when she did that Sophia Loren song. I think that is her path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The 2 ways to win this category. And if they both intersect, that like they do this year is amazing. 1, just be in a huge movie, so this where it's just like caught up in a sweep. Or 2, be such a big song with such a big pop star that it exists as a hit.
It trumps everything else. Yeah,
She needs to write the song for the next Bond movie.
Yep.
Right.
And they intersected this year, which is kind of the perfect storm, where the song from the biggest movie of the year also broke out as a single in and of itself.
Yeah, and piggybacking on your stat, Rachel, if Billie Eilish doesn't win, it would only be the second time in history a song nominated for Oscar that won Song of the Year at the Grammys did not also win the Oscar. The other one was Somewhere Out There from An American Tale.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Oh.
It won Song of the Year at the Grammys, but it lost to Top Gun at the Oscars.
to Take My Breath Away.
Yeah, Take My Breath Away.
I fucking love Take My Breath.
It's so
yeah.
Anyway.
out there is also really good. But
Perfect.
I look at like the current 2024 Grammys and I'm like, wow, somewhere out there won
Yeah.
Right.
Song of the Year.
It
at
was
the
a
Grammys.
different time. It was
Holy
a different time.
cannoli. And yes, I meant Song of the Year, not Record of the Year, because Record of the Year
Yeah.
was mine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Miley.
But
I like the record, yeah.
Okay, but is anybody like have an icky feeling that even though the Eilish song is completely representative of what the movie is about entirely, it is the theme of the movie, that there's a chance that the song about the men's struggle
There is absolutely a chance.
would actually beat it instead. The irony would be stifling and horrifying, but also like so absolutely, oh yeah, well of course that happened.
It's right there. Top
Yeah,
3, top 2.
it's
Yeah.
right there. It's going to be a great performance. And Billie Eilish, I love her, but it's going to be a sleepy performance again. But I don't know.
It's possible, but I think they're highly unlikely. I think that the minute that
It
song
won
got-
Critics' Choice. So, I mean, people are looking at it.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Unless there's a bias towards Billy and saying, well, too much,
no, that's only going to be Diane Warren going, how does she have 2 Oscars at 22?
I know. And she beat me twice.
What am I doing here?
She's 2
I have
for
more
2.
nominations than she has years on this earth.
Call her up. That's what you do. You call her
Yeah, you
up and you're
call her
like,
up and
what
say,
are you
"Let's
working?
collab."
What are you working on next?
Right.
There's the
exactly.
collab. There's the
Yeah.
Hey,
collab.
Billy,
Yeah.
do you want to do my next song called "Rise Up and Be Up"? Stand
And stay up and then, yeah.
I just don't think that they like comedy, and I don't see them liking a comedic song.
Yeah.
When
Yeah, no. I
they're
agree.
being given another.
All you got to do is look at 1999 when the Phil Collins fucking shitty ballad from Tarzan beat South Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But it also, to
and
be
also
fair,
beat
it
Save
also,
Me.
I would say,
Or anything else.
and When She Loved Me, like it was a great lineup. The worst nominee,
Yes.
Pattern Music of the Heart, like one of the worst nominees won
Yes.
that lineup. Although I will say that's a great lineup, though. All things considered,
Yeah.
that's a really
And
It
we
is-
got
it's
the
a great
spoof that
lineup.
South Park made of that song, which kind of made it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they wanted to submit Uncle Tucker, but they said, no, that's probably not going to get in. So let's do Play in Canada.
One.
Yeah.
I know. Oh, yeah. That was the best song.
All right, let's move on to original score. Nominees are American Fiction, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things. I think we all are probably predicting the same thing for this.
And I actually do love that score. So I'm okay with that.
Indiana
All
Jones.
it's American Fiction. Right?
This is one of the shittiest lineups that they have had in forever because
Yeah, well, there's
There
two of
is-
them that- yeah.
there is no right that John
Yeah.
Williams has to be here over some incredible scores, including Zone of Interest
Yeah.
and All of Us Strangers. It's absolutely a mindless, blank blueprint, copy paste score. American Fiction being here is super weird. I like it. It's inspired,
Cool score.
but it's
Yeah.
a strange place for it.
I did predict Indiana Jones to pop up here
I did
because that's what they do.
Mhm.
But there's no way Oppenheimer is losing this. No way.
So my theory is that the reason why Oppenheimer is going to win sound is actually not because of its sound, because there's not a whole lot of actual sound in
Yeah.
it. It's because of the score.
Yeah.
And because the score is the sound of the movie in a way, and it plays like a soundscape. And it's kind of unfortunate that's going to happen because, again, Zone should be here because its score is the soundscape as well.
Well, I mean, Oppenheimer kind of includes sound cues that are part of the actual architecture of the sound in the movie, and that's sort of combined with with the score. So yeah, it does it really brilliantly. Yeah,
There's no way. There's no way to separate the two. I don't think.
Yeah,
at least for a voter.
Do we all have Oppenheimer?
Yes, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we're right.
I think we're right.
Oh yeah.
I thought Poor Things was fun, but it was kind of just one theme from it that I really, really liked. But
I loved it.
yeah, overall, Oppenheimer.
Super bummed the Boy and the Heron didn't make it in here, but I know it was a long shot.
Of course, Spider-Verse. It's great.
Great score too.
Yeah, that's what makes this category so annoying is the things that should be here.
Let's keep moving to international feature. Nominees are Il Capitano from Italy, Perfect Days Japan, Society of the Snow Spain, The Teacher's Lounge Germany, Zone of Interest United Kingdom. Over to you, Blaine.
So I think Zone of Interest is going to win. It's nominated in many, many categories, including Best Pictures. Personally, I loved The Teacher's Lounge. I think that was maybe my favorite movie. Well, other than Godzilla, I think it was my favorite movie of the season. Just beautifully well done. Acting, the writing, the tone, everything about it was phenomenal.
100% agreed. I think Teacher's Lounge is incredible. It's such a neat counter or sister piece to Koreeda's Monster in talking about teachers, parents, and students. I think Teacher's Lounge is incredible. And just everyone's got to be very grateful that Anatomy's not here.
Right.
Yeah, I've been describing The Teacher's Lounge to my friends as a thriller if the horrors of it are just the daily life of a normal teacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
The way things unravel for her when she's trying to do good is it's relatable.
Yeah.
And it is horrifying. It is a horror movie.
Yeah. I'm also going with Zone, which ended up being my least favorite one of this lineup somehow. But it's clearly. Yeah. I love Perfect Days, and I actually really did like Il Capitano as well.
I'm seeing both of those tomorrow, and I'm very excited for them.
Yeah.
I have to say, I really didn't like Perfect Days. It was about as much fun as cleaning a toilet for me. I liked a lot of it. I liked his performance.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
It was just I didn't connect with it.
What? Look, you made Eric leave.
Just in time for my essay about the international features.
We're ready because you've seen all 84 movies that were submitted.
That were answered, exactly.
Yeah.
And this year I decided to switch it up and I watched them alphabetical by country instead of alphabetical by title.
Your mind.
So now I'm going to start with my essay. Zone is going to win. If something breaks through to the Best Picture category, then that is likely what I'm going to go with, unless, of course, Anatomy had been chosen, and then Anatomy would have been.
Good job, France.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've only seen two, and it's Zone and Society of Snow. So Snow is, not Snow. I'm sorry, Zone, not Snow. It's obviously the one that's going to win.
Yeah.
Just because it's picture, director. Yeah.
Which I love Jonathan Glazer, so I'm okay with this. The movie was a bit of a letdown for me, but yeah.
I should also qualify, even though I wasn't a huge fan of Perfect Days, it's still better than 95% of what I saw last year. So,
fair enough.
It's
John just hates blue collar workers. He's an elitist.
I think I said he was the Diana Nyad of cleaning toilets. There was just so much toilet cleaning, and I get part of it was to show literally someone the origin, from what I understand, the origin story of the entire movie is someone went up to Wim Wenders and was like, "You should do a movie about the toilets in Japan," and he's like, "Okay," and so he did. Which beautiful bathrooms, beautiful gowns.
Those urinals. Oh my god.
But it was, and I get it was like a slice of life thing where there wasn't necessarily a plot driving it forward. Like I get that, I can be on board with those types of movies, but for some reason, this one was just like every time.
Yeah, that kind of style for me tends to always work. Like, slice of life where not a lot happens, but what happens is actually meaningful and makes you sort of like think about yourself. I think that tends to work for me. Yeah.
Me too.
But I get it. I get it. Yeah, I get why it wouldn't work for everybody. Yeah.
Sorry, John, you're kicked out of the group.
Well, I ranked it 22 of the 86 now.
Are you ready for documentary?
Yeah.
Documentary feature, where did it go? This list is not in the same order as the list on my other list.
Oh my God, guys,
there it is. No,
there's a
that's documentary
huge
short.
Roach, like climbing on my desk right now.
Get it.
Oh no.
I think I got it.
I'm not cutting
Oh
this.
yeah, it's dead. I killed it with my phone holder.
We're leading with this. This is actually going to be our intro.
Right. Oh, the roach.
Yeah, this is gonna be in the
How New York? So
I
New
know
York.
it's so New York, and
So
it's
New
raining
York.
outside. It's like pouring out, so
Yeah.
he just probably came in to get out of the rain.
And look what
Now it's
happened.
dead. Now
Do we know that it's not actually Diane Warren?
She has your phone number.
Oh my God.
Uh,
Cut this out. Cut this out.
Documentary feature film nominees are 20 Days in Mariupol, Bobby Wine, The People's President, The Eternal Memory, Four Daughters, and To Kill a Tiger. I am predicting 20 Days in Mariupol.
Me too.
Me too.
Easy. But what a
Navalny won last year.
It's such a weird year in this category, though, because it has, along with score, it has the most precursors. It has the most possibilities to, get nominations and win things. There's Critics' Choice, BAFTA, Producers Guild, Cinema Eye Honors, and International Documentary Association. All five went for different films. That just does not happen. It's bizarre. And when 20 Days lost PGA last week to American Symphony, who's not even nominated here, it just got even stranger. It was so weird. The one thing that we can guarantee and rely on, though, is the Critics' Choice curse, because it is strong. It only broke for Summer of Soul, but it came back last year for Goodnight Oppie, and it's here this year for the Michael J. Fox movie. So if you are if you're the Critics winner and Critics' Choice winner, you are not winning here. You're lucky to even get nominated here.
I feel like they do it on purpose.
Oh, it's absolutely actively on purpose.
Yeah.
Once they because they're also a branch that we've talked about many times, like the music branches and the international feature branches that are constantly changing their voting structure.
Yeah.
To either more reflect a general sense, or to tighten their ranks, and documentary has definitely done that. But there's nothing that has the immediacy and timeliness of 20 Days. Nothing at all.
There's something to be said about the fact that it missed out an international feature, which to me was a surprise. So
I thought it was in.
Yeah, that did happen, but out of what we got in this category that just kind of went rogue, that is the logical winner. Yeah.
And the guy that the director, I've seen him being interviewed like on MSNBC, CNN. So I've been seeing him kind of doing his version of campaigning. So they've really actually he's been being interviewed quite a bit of late. And obviously that's what's going on in the world, but that seems to me the slam dunk.
It's interesting. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm talking.
I was going to say, yeah, it's interesting to me that the two highest profile films, American Symphony and Michael J. Fox, still both missed.
Yeah.
I'm actually glad that American Symphony missed, because to me that it was not a very interesting or uniquely done or anything kind of documentary. It was just like following around John Baptiste, and like he's amazing, but he has anxiety.
It's mid as fuck.
Yeah.
So I think if it would have gotten in, it probably would have won. Just
It'd be the only English language documentary, and I do love that
exactly
crybaby producer that was complaining that there were no American films in documentary, and that they need to overhaul how they do their nominations.
You need to watch more than 5 movies a year. Yeah.
Mhm.
Ma'am, calm down.
Yeah.
Guys, I have the predictions from our dear friend Alfie.
Oh.
Well, so I could just run through quickly what he's predicting in the categories that we already did.
Yes.
Great.
Then I can add him in. So live action short, Wonderful World of Henry Sugar. Documentary short, Nine. Best animated short, 95 Senses. International film, Zone of Interest. Documentary 20 Days. Visual effects, Godzilla. Sound, Oppenheimer. Original song, What Was I Made For? Original score, Oppenheimer. Makeup and hairstyling, Maestro. Film editing, Oppenheimer. Costumes, Poor Things. Cinematography, did we do that already?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer. Production design, Poor Things. I think that brings us up to where we are in real time.
Yeah. We're on animated feature now. Let's do animated.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nominees are The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Rob, why don't you start with this one?
This was actually really hard. I am going to go with Spider-Man, but I think it's going to win by just a hair, and I will not be surprised if Boy and the Heron wins, not only because it was great, but also maybe a sentimental thing. But yeah, I mean, I'm really torn. I could change my mind tomorrow, but I'm going to go with Spider-Verse. And just be, am I also concerned about picking it also is because the other one won not too long, a couple of years ago, and people thinking like it's the same movie, but and let's give it to Boy and the Heron, a little bit more original, and Miyazaki hasn't won in a while, and it won BAFTA and the Globe, right? Boy and the Heron.
Boy in the Heron.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it won BAFTA and Globe.
Yeah, but Spider-Verse has been more of the critics' choice. It's won more critics awards. Yeah,
And it won the Annie Critics' Choice and PGA.
And it basically swept the Annies, right?
Yeah,
that's probably why I'm tilting more towards that, just because of that. But I would not be shocked if Boy wins. But I'm picking Spider-Verse just by a hair.
I'm predicting Boy and the Heron. To me, it's 50-50, that and Spider-Verse. Though, interestingly, the only two winners of this category to be sequels are Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4. So that is one small thing that falls into Boy and the Heron's favor, is that it's usually a original film or not a sequel. Sorry, I thought someone started talking. Blaine?
Yeah, but I mean, the only thing about that is that because the category didn't exist for the first Toy Stories, and it would have easily won that. But yeah, I mean, if Spider-Man does win, it will become the first animated film and its immediate sequel to win. But that's just more an issue of timing.
Yeah.
I don't think this is really that close. I think this is probably more 60-40, 70-30 in Spider-Man's favor. And I mean, one element, Boy and the Heron didn't get an Ace Eddie nomination that Spider-Man has and will win. But the other thing that kind of made me think was when the film came out, when it premiered at Toronto, it was sort of thought or understood that it was going to be Miyazaki's last film. And then the producer that came out to introduce it revealed that it wouldn't be, and he's working on another film now. So I think it removed
Urgency. Yeah.
the narrative of having
Yeah.
to reward him. And he did win for Spirited Away, the second year of the award. I mean, I think it's possible. I just think it's a little bit less likely than it should be.
I have Spider-Man, and Alfie has Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I also have Spider-Man, but I think it's close.
Yeah, I think it's really close, and I am tilting a little toward Boy and the Heron, mainly because there's going to be another Spider-Man in a year and a half. So I think a lot of people are leaning towards that, and I don't think from what I've heard people talking, people are still saying this is The Boy and the Heron was his last film. So I don't think that what you were talking about is very widely known.
No.
Yeah, this is a middle movie, Spider-Man. It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't
All right,
know.
let's move on to screenplays. We're above the line. We made it above the line.
Home stretch.
Woo!
All right. Adapted screenplay: American Fiction, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, The Zone of Interest. Rachel, take it away.
American Fiction. Interesting category, because at various times of the year, I would have said, oh, it's definitely this, it's definitely this, it's definitely this. And it still could be Oppenheimer if we have a really, really big sweep where everything just gets swept into it. The BAFTA was convincing for me, but also they love movies about writing in the screenplay category, and American Fiction is about writing. So that's going to be the one. I think that will be the single win for Best Picture nominee, American Fiction. And Alfie is also predicting. Let me just make sure that's right, but I believe yes, he is also predicting American Fiction for adapted screenplay.
Cesco,
Is everybody predicting American Fiction here?
I
am.
yes.
Okay, I'm predicting Zone of Interest. Just because I started reading about how Steven Spielberg is pimping this out to everybody he knows. And it is a film about the Holocaust. It is also Best Picture nominee. It is also Best Director nominee. And it feels like the most important movie out of this lineup. And that's why I went with it.
I did see his quote, or I think it was a tweet where he said it was the best Holocaust movie since Mine.
Yes.
When I read that, I read it in Jenna Maroney's voice, because that is something she would say.
It was such a good quote. Yeah.
It was really something.
Good for him.
Yeah. I'm probably going to be wrong, but it's just a gut feeling.
This is where I think some there could be an upset somewhere, like some film ends up winning that no one's expecting. But I am predicting American Fiction. But yeah, for some reason, I think that this seems to be the category where there could be some weird upset where like, oh shit, didn't predict that one.
Like Precious over Up in the Air. Felt like that was
Exactly.
that year.
There you go. Perfect. That's a great example. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see a decent amount of people like protest voting for Barbie just because they
Yeah.
wanted it to be an original so bad that they're like,
Mhm.
this has to win.
Right.
Well, it's also the only place to reward Greta Gerwig.
Yeah.
So I was of the thought a few months ago that no matter where Barbie ended up, original or adapted, that it would be able to win. And I still think it's absolutely possible here. I think it's either Barbie, Oppenheimer, or American Fiction. And it's crazy to think that Oppenheimer can pull off a mini sweep, and depending on where you think in top categories, getting picture, director, and actor and not getting screenplay feels super strange. It is a movie about people talking in rooms almost the entire time. The whole thing is monologuing and dialoguing. It is not a a action structure driven screenplay. It is a dialogue driven story, and it seems insane that it wouldn't win here. And it's also one of those that it's a nonfiction book turned into a fictional narrative, which is a fantastic and difficult feat. It's bizarre that it's not like an easy winner here, because then at the end of the day, it might just be the winner here.
Yeah, and that's where I'm thinking that's a strong possibility, and I'm thinking, Nolan, because of all he will enter that unique club of winning picture, director, and screenplay for a single film. So he will join that very small group of folks, and that's not necessarily out of the question. So I actually have Oppenheimer second, in a very close second. So if Oppenheimer wins, I'm not going to be surprised at all.
Not one bit.
Not at all.
I'm waiting until the USC scripter, I think it's tomorrow or in a couple of days, to see where they go, and if they go with American Fiction too. But I mean, American Fiction winning the BAFTA, its only nomination.
Yeah. Winning
Critics' Choice. It won the Spirit Award last weekend. There is a clear push. There is a clear. It feels so in the cards for it to happen. And then, depending on how we think about original screenplay, we could be in one of those years where the screenplay winners only win screenplay.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer is my second place as well for all of those reasons. It's actually kind of wild that it's become such a huge front runner without dragging the script along up until this point. And I would say that I have Barbie in third, but Barbie would have been my winner if the voting for the winners had happened like the day after the nominations happened. If they were like, the nominations are out and voting starts in 5 minutes, when there was the big swell of the controversy, that was really its hot moment. But then there was backlash to the backlash. That all died down. These other narratives have since taken over. So I have it in third place. I mean, I don't think I would be like shocked, but I would probably be surprised if it won screenplay at this point.
The BAFTA sold it for me for American Fiction, and I go back to what Rachel said about writing is often rewarded. It's like a movie about editing getting nominated for editing.
Or a costume design winner being about making costumes.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So there's something, meta about it that also tips it in its favor. But I agree, like, except for Poor Things, I could see a narrative for Barbie Oppenheimer Zone of Interest. Also, I mean, so there could be a surprise on what seems like a very unsurprising Oscars going into it. This could be one category where there is a surprise. Let's move over to original screenplay. Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, May, December, and Past Lives. I'm thinking Anatomy of a Fall takes this.
Yes.
Holdovers had a moment where it could have, but I feel like the heat died down on that. So I'm going with Anatomy.
The heat ended up being, honestly, for myself, a little bit of a distraction. I put in a lot of things at the last minute for my Oscar nominations predictions, thinking Holdovers was really peaking, and it didn't really have quite that.
No, it looked like it was.
Yeah.
The Dominic Sessa nomination at BAFTA threw everyone off.
Yeah. And I know, like...
And Best Picture.
20 and 25.
And it won casting.
Don't get nominated at the Oscars in supporting actor. Like, if you're under 50, it's an uphill climb.
Forget it.
Actors, like, that's not where those types of nominations happen. But the BAFTA just took me so much by surprise that it really threw me for a loop. I think this is going to be Anatomy. Alfie's also predicting Anatomy. It will be the lone win for Anatomy, and it will be another Best Picture that ends up with only one win.
It's that wealth spreading.
Yep.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yep, it's Anatomy, definitely, for, again, the sharing the wealth, and you got to give it something. So I think this is we know Holdovers is going to get at least one. So let's get, and we know that Anatomy's probably not going to get picture, actress, and director. So this seems to be the appropriate place to give it an award, and it's well deserved.
I think it's Anatomy's arc this season has been really fascinating to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just kind of been a slow bloom. Like they've done everything right. Like they parlayed the early buzz into a lot of critics wins, and then I think they released it to streaming right at the right time. Brought out the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That dog around everywhere.
Yeah.
Best performance of the year.
Yeah.
No, it's not on streaming yet. It doesn't hit streaming until
It's not
the
on streaming?
22nd.
Well,
Of
it's
this
a bit.
month.
It's pay-per-view. I mean, you can rent it and
You can-
purchase it on iTunes.
Okay, yes.
But then you
Yes.
can go. But then it'll be on Hulu on the 22nd.
22nd, yeah.
Yeah,
It became
and also
like a-
Poor Things is going to be on Hulu this week, right? On the
The
7th.
7th.
The 7th.
Sandra's monologue, The Dirtier and Meaner, like that became a
Mm.
TikTok
Yeah.
viral audio. So like there's just a lot of things that happen in its favor at the right time. I think honestly, if
Yeah.
like the Oscars were like still a month out, it could actually. This may sound stupid, but I think it could actually land in Sandra's favor because it feels like more and more people are discovering the movie and loving it. But because of the timing of everything, she's not going to win.
She's third in a category that's
she's a
pretty
strong
split.
third. She's Diane
So,
Lane
yeah.
and Faithful.
Yeah.
Third.
Don't open that can of worms.
But I think I'm very confident that she will. Justine Triet and her writing partner.
I just wish her speeches were better. Maybe that's just me. It's sort of been every time that she's picked up an award, I was like, okay, that's what you have to say about it. All right.
Anatomy winning. Let's get the three like. We know the three just like we know who's winning out of the way. So let's do a supporting actor. We have Sterling K. Brown, American Fiction, Robert De Niro, Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr., Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling, Barbie, Mark Ruffalo, Poor Things.
Mark Ruffalo.
All mascal.
Congratulations, Charles Melton.
Jamie Bell.
Charles Milton would be my should have been nominated, and I didn't even
Oh.
like that movie.
My
But I
should have been
really liked
nominated.
him.
Yeah.
He was so good.
My should have been nominated would take up this entire category.
Yeah, it's not a very exciting category. I have to
Yeah.
say.
I would leave Ryan Gosling and maybe De Niro, and everybody else would be gone.
I would put Downey Jr. like third in his own film out of supporting.
He is not even third or fourth in his own movie. It blows my mind.
I just have to say, when I was talking to my partner a couple weeks ago about who was probably going to win, I was saying Robert Downey Jr. for this, and he's like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "Yeah, it's like a career win." He's like, "I guess congrats for quitting drugs."
Yeah.
Charles Melton and May December, that whole thing needs to be studied in a lab of how that went downhill so fast.
It's
That is
because
the creepiest.
it's just because critics say things and everybody's like, okay, then that must be happening, and it's
Right.
like critics don't vote on these.
Right.
They don't.
I've never quite seen a downfall like that before. Like I never
Yeah.
thought he was going to win. He doesn't have the factors I think that he would have needed to win, but to not even get a nomination, like, and it happened so quickly.
He was so ready. He won the Gotham Award. He was in his like oversized suit that all the actors wear to look cool. Like he was so ready, and then
Yeah.
nothing happened. And he was so good in the movie, and it's so sad.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
All right, let's move on to Best Supporting Davine Joy Randolph.
Yes.
The nominees for Best Supporting Davine Joy Randolph are Emily Blunt, Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks, The Color Purple, America Ferrera and Barbie, Jodie Foster and Nayad, and Davine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers.
Which I mean, really good for her. She was great. She won everything.
Everything.
I'm not mad about it at all. She's great.
No.
Did she
But
win
I-
the Super Bowl too?
She will. Yeah.
The gay
She actually was the halftime performer, and then she won the game. So it was incredible. It's never happened before.
Yeah,
Is I
exactly.
wrong to say the only comparable sweep would be like Helen Mirren and the Queen?
And that same year, it
Not
was
for the
also,
same category, but just like in general for.
and
an
Forrest
actual-
Whitaker did the same
Well,
thing.
that's
They
unfortunate.
They mirrored each other, right?
But
Yeah, this is almost unprecedented, and definitely is for this category because she got the trifecta of LA, New York, and National Society plus NBR plus BAFTA, Critics' Choice, Globe, SAG, and Spirit.
Right.
It's insane.
So she won all the critics plus all the industry. So I was thinking Allison Janney, but Allison Janney didn't win the critics. She won all the industry, right?
Laurie Metcalf,
Yeah.
Metcalf won all the critics.
Metcalf was
Right.
on this trajectory, and then Televised started, and Janney took over.
Allison Janney wore a fucking bird on her shoulder at the Golden Globes and made like a joke about it while she was presenting. And it's like, oh my God, the bird is the thing. And the performance is a thing.
Right.
Oh, we have to vote for Allison. Fuck that. Fuck her.
Oh,
yeah.
I like her.
I was going to say, though, that...
I love Allison Janney, but no.
No.
Laurie Metcalf.
No, Metcalf should have won, but...
It's not our fault
it's hard to
that we were forced to choose between two legends of 90s TV. Like, nobody wanted it to be like that. It wasn't our fault. I was going to say, though, that Mirren lost at least one of those critics awards to Hard Candy. Yeah. I feel like Mirren lost.
No, this sweep is insane because I mean, even though she tied with Rachel McAdams at Los Angeles, she's never lost anything.
Should have been nominated. Still angry, still salty.
Sandra should have been nominated.
Hung on as long.
And low-key, Sandra's mom in that movie is also amazing.
Yeah. Sandra should have been here.
Yeah.
Over like most of these other nominees.
Yeah.
I do hope that Randolph has the wherewithal to keep the paper at her seat and give a speech that is completely like from her heart.
Thank you. I was complaining about this. Yeah.
I cannot deal with how bland and meaningless her speeches have been because she's a super funny and gregarious and goofy person, and none of that's coming through at all.
I complained about it in another episode where I was like, she really needs to stop like her PR people like writing these speeches because it's done. She's winning, and it's the last one, and you just get up there and you just speak from the heart and make us laugh, make us cry, and just
You've had months to prepare for that.
Elliot won Austin for Hard Candy. Rachel.
Oh, so it wasn't one of the... Why did I think
it was Austin?
Okay, so who cares?
I did think that Mirren and Forrest Whitaker won everything. I thought they pretty much swept
more or less
all of them.
So let's turbocharge Best Director: Jonathan Glazer, Zone of Interest; Yorgos Lanthimos, Poor Things; Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer; Martin Scorsese, Killers of the Flower Moon; Justin Triet, Anatomy of a Fall. We all know the answer to this question.
Yeah, he's winning.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Best Christopher Nolan goes to Christopher Nolan.
Another ChatGPT speech from him.
Real quick, anyone else that should have been?
No, I think his speeches are great.
Gerwig, obviously.
Andrew Haig.
The guy from the guy that made Godzilla should have won this, but yeah.
I would have loved that. That would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Let's do Best Awards shoes. We'll end on Best Actress. How's that sound?
Let's do that.
Let's do it.
All right, Best Actor: Bradley Cooper, Maestro; Coleman Domingo, Rustin; Paul Giamatti, The Holdovers; Cillian Murphy, Oppenheimer; and Jeffrey Wright, American Fiction.
There's a pussy on Eric's screen.
Yeah.
Hi.
How often are you ever going to say that?
Exactly. Context, please.
I'll say for Best Actor, I think we had a moment where Giamatti looked like he could contend. Murphy, I think, is with the SAG BAFTA combo and the Oppenheimer sweep, I feel is pretty locked in. I would say I would give him a 75%.
I'm predicting Giamatti because I can't scratch that itch. I can't. And I don't, if it happens, I don't want to be wrong. Although
he would have had to win SAG for me.
Of course. Intellectually, I know that it's probably not him, but it is just in the back of my head that it looked like the right time to actually give him an award in the context of, I think, of a career that has been fairly maybe rewarded. It's been
Definitely.
sort of like, underrated in general. And that maybe people are out there looking for someone who's not foreign to give this to, and that's him. Yeah. So
And I just want to be able to watch his role in that one Spider-Man movie where he's like tatted up in a mecha and just be like, that's an Oscar winner right now.
holy shit, that did happen. Yeah.
Isn't that meme going around of him covered in the blue paint from, was it Big Fat Liar or some piece of crap that he did for money? And there was a meme that was like, this guy might win the Oscar, and it was
Good for him.
in the blue paint.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I'm going with Murphy too. Same. I was Giamatti. I was on the Giamatti train up until SAG.
Me too.
And once that happened, I said, "Oh, looks like it's going to be Murphy." And it's funny. I've been talking to friends, and they're not like they like movies. I mean, they're not really into the big award stuff and all that stuff. I mean, they take a small interest. But it was funny when we were talking about the Oscars, two different people, and they both said, it was just interesting. I thought for sure they would say Giamatti, and they're like, nah, he was good, but I feel like it was Giamatti being Giamatti. And they were much more taken with Murphy, saying, no, what this guy did, was much more, and they're also, it wasn't the typical biopic. They said the quiet, subtle performance that they really were, he was such a big part of that movie, and obviously, but some of the things that they were saying, I was just like, yeah, that sounds about right. And you guys are, not really experts or in this area here, but how they were explaining their rationale for saying, no, Murphy should win this, I thought was really interesting. But like I said, I was on the Giamatti train up until SAG, and I think it's definitely Murphy.
Yeah, I think we all got thrown again by the BAFTAs over embracing holdovers in their nominations. And then I think SAG, I lost sight of the fact that 75 billion people watched Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
When compared to the holdovers, and the actors, they are just like regular people. They are like, they've seen 3 things and they vote, the SAG voting body does not sit home and watch screeners of everything. So I think I lost sight of that, which is why, I'm now back to predicting Murphy.
But it's either or, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, not only is he the titular role,
right?
He's in almost every frame of the movie, of this 3-hour epic. It's all him. And his sad, gaunt little Irish face.
Yeah.
All right, let's quick Best Picture out of the way. The nominees for Best Oppenheimer are American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, The Zone of Interest. Oppenheimer's winning, right?
Yes.
But it's a good list.
Yeah, it's a great list.
Let's maybe everyone say one movie they thought should have been nominated instead.
Godzilla.
I know
All of Us Strangers.
All of Us Strangers.
All of Us Strangers.
I'd say Godzilla or Spider-Verse.
Yeah. So if Oppenheimer wins Picture, Actor, and Supporting Actor, this is the 4th time, right?
Fifth time.
So going my way, the Best Years of Our Lives, Ben-Hur. Is there another one?
Wait, is this? This is the 4th. You're right. Yeah, this is the 4th.
So
I just had that up like 2 days ago.
I know. I had to look to say, wait a minute. I was doing all the little stats stuff and
of that configuration.
Of that configuration, yes.
And also, every year that ends in 4 this century has been a actor and supporting actor from the same movie, because it was Mystic River for 2003, Ceremony in 2004, and Dallas Buyers Club for 2013, Ceremony in 2014. It's just that those 2 didn't also win Picture. So
yeah.
That trend as well.
Weird 10-year cycle there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I will say that this is Best Picture lineup is stronger than usual. or stronger than
Yeah.
it's been in the last
Yeah.
couple of years.
There's really nothing embarrassing, honestly.
No, there's not a clunker in the bunch.
Well, there's
No
a couple of
Bohemian.
things that I would say are maybe not
Well, and
on par.
also
but
aligning with PGA 10 for 10, absolutely unprecedented.
yeah,
I mean,
it was
declaring
meant to
a
happen
mission
at
of-
some point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
declaring a mission of flaming hot stands out.
Yeah.
But
There's no Extremely Loud, there's no Bohemian Rhapsody. Like they're really this is
Yeah.
a strong lineup, I think.
Again, I would say here that I don't think are movies that I'm going to think about after everything is said and done. Yeah.
Well, I have about 5 minutes left, so let's
Okay.
Yes.
into
Yeah.
Best Actress. I want
5 minutes for best actress. Uh-oh.
Best Actress.
This is a
Nominees
record.
are Walter Mercado for Naiad, Lily Gladstone, Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, and Emma Stone for Poor Things. Annette Bening for Naiad. I say her name. She's wonderful. All right. What do we got?
It should be Fuller. It could be Stone, but I think it'll be Gladstone.
That's exactly how I feel.
Okay.
Exactly right.
That's exactly it.
We got
Yeah.
distracted again by
Wow.
BAFTA, which I think is losing its correlation because we got distracted with Gladstone missing the nomination there.
Which I mean, it did happen, and it is weird that it happened, but
I don't-
the narrative that carries her is way stronger. Way
Yeah.
stronger. Yeah.
The
Even
response
Jessica
to-
Chastain missed BAFTA too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The response to Gladstone winning the SAG to me is what sealed it. The room was incredibly excited. Emma Stone herself was elated that Lily won. Yeah, I think also the British are uniquely racist in their own way, and in retrospect, we're never going to embrace Killers of the Flower Moon the way the Oscars were going to. So
Fair enough.
Marty
Yeah.
can't go 0 for 10 3 years.
It's just so
Three-
strange that they ended up shortlisting Cara J. Myers, and then she didn't even show up. Yeah. So,
Robert De Niro got nominated, but not Lily. There's so many weird things about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it seemed intentional. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all predicting Gladstone?
So we're all picking. I was just going to say, is everybody Gladstone?
Damn.
Also Gladstone.
Okay. Oh, all right.
Yeah, I mean, unless
That would be a worse
Lily Gladstone is Viola Davis,
Right.
you'd be really hard pressed to not predict her to win here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fair.
Yeah.
I
Viola
maintain-
Davis did not have a Best Picture. Do you mean Viola Davis for most recently?
Well, both of her SAG wins didn't turn into Oscar wins.
Oscars. Yeah.
She won
That
for
has happened.
Ma Rainey, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
she won
Oh my
SAG
God.
for
That
Ma Rainey.
year though, I almost feel like it doesn't count because that year was just.
And it also didn't have a Best Picture nomination.
Right.
Mhm.
Like that year, I'm pretty sure I ended up winning something for Best Actress. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, that was the year when everyone won all the
Except
different
for
four
Kirby.
precursors.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
except for Kirby, who won nothing.
Yeah. Doing nothing.
Yeah.
She showed up everywhere. She was everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm
good for her.
surprised we all have Gladstone, but all right.
Me too, actually.
Well, it's really funny because Emma Stone is sort of doing what Cate Blanchett did last year and using her win speeches to be a little bit, why me? Don't pick me. Lily Gladstone is right there.
They know that the optics are what they are.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
the reason, I mean, I do believe, Emma Stone was really happy for Lily Gladstone,
Sure.
obviously, but also the relief that she had to feel
Yes.
was probably pretty incredible because the
Yes.
online discourse about those two as competitors has been pretty gross and awful.
Yeah.
When they're actually really friendly in real life, and this is always going to be the thing that normies will never know and understand and be a part of, is that the people that are in these awards races and seasons like this together are by and large extremely close because they are with each other all the time, and the competition is completely on the outside. It isn't on the inside at all.
Yeah.
That perception of cutthroat and all that stuff is something that just people like to create.
Yes, except for Bradley Cooper, who is clearly,
Yes.
Or Renee Zellweger.
would put a gun to his daughter's head, to win.
He doesn't love her anyway, so
God
That's
bless
right.
He
her.
doesn't. Yeah,
Well,
he doesn't love her.
Got
That
this
was so
child, was like,
weird.
how does this child give me an Oscar? How do I get an Oscar out of this child? And
Right.
figure it out.
Can I dress my child as an Oscar? Just put her on the...
Oh my god.
So that's actually surprising. We're all predicting Gladstone, but yeah, I think the winds have shifted definitely in her favor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it's
Sandra
all
Bullock's
about
still my pick, but I think she love that she won the Caesar or the Cesar. How do you say it?
Cesar.
Cesar. But yeah, her not winning at BAFTA, I think, put her out of the race.
That was shocking.
Her not okay. So like, real tea though is her not being SAG nominated. That day was the day that she lost the ability to win this. Period.
Now,
Which I
it's not
thought,
gonna happen
I
until it
kind of
happens.
called it. And I was like, if she's missing one, it's going to be one nomination is going to be a SAG. But it doesn't help you, obviously. Yeah.
if they were doing SAG nominations now, like voting on SAG nominations, I think she would be in.
Yeah.
100%, because
The-
SAG
the-
is really early. It's an early
Critical mass
December.
awareness of her did not.
And the brutally honest, like Oscar ballots, there are people voting for her.
Mhm.
It's not like
Sure.
she is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Although not like in a Penelope Cruz, like, oh my God, people
No.
are changing their predictions kind of way.
Penelope Cruz had the most votes out of anybody in the 4 acting categories that year.
Yep, and people let that like change their minds. And
I did because I'm homosexual.
It
That's
we are all
that's what happened.
homosexuals, even though I'm smart. All right, I have
Oh my God.
to jump. That's my time.
All right.
Yay!
Yay, thank you.
Cesco, thank you, Rob. Thank you, Blaine.
Oh, thank you.
Those are the Oscars. We're right on every
All
category.
right.
Thank
Yes.
you for submitting the script written down. I'm lost. I'm losing my words. Okay, bye.
You're good. All right, you guys all have a
Bye.
good week. Have a good weekend.